I carry anger often. Back in November, I was frustrated and saddened by the results of the election, worried about the future and what will happen within the US, what will happen to the people here, and what will happen to me. And even beyond my feelings towards the election, I carry a lot of anger and sadness about the state of the world and the quality of life that I and other people are experiencing. From genocide to racism, homophobia, transphobia, misogyny, capitalism, ableism, climate change, just to name a few. The feelings I experience weigh heavy on my mind and even on my body. Sometimes I just want to curl up under a blanket. Other times I notice that my arms are tense and feel like they need to move around. I physically feel like I have to get up and do something sometimes. When that happens, I know that my body wants to do something physically to release those emotions and energy. In November, I wanted to try painting as a way to feel and release my anger. The idea being that I would paint roughly with chaotic brushstrokes and smearing colors on top of each other with no plan for a specific image to be created. And then for me to insert any images I wanted that just came to me in the moment. If I thought of a tree, I made a tree. If I thought of a square, I put a square. At the end of this piece, I wasn't satisfied. I felt like I didn't exert as much energy and didn't use my body as much as I wanted to. My arms still felt like they needed to do more movement. So then I thought to myself, which of my art materials allows me to use more force and can be layered like I want? Oil pastels. I have attempted to use them before and found them hard to work with for the types of images I wanted to make. They smear, transfer onto other surfaces, don't come to a fine point, require different kinds of applied pressure, and are just messy. Traits that I couldn't stand before that are exactly what I needed now. I can dig the oil pastels into the paper, use techniques like scratching and scraping into it, and even blend the colors together. I can build up the material and then destroy it in a way. For these first couple images, I laid down a base color, then layered another color so that when I went to scratch in the image I wanted, the base color will show through. These were great test runs before I sat down and allowed myself to use oil pastels as a way to release some anger. Before starting to create, I make sure to take a moment to ground myself with a cup of jasmine green tea, breathing in deeply the scent of the tea, breathing out a steady stream of cool air from my mouth, noticing how the glass cup feels warm in my hands, bringing awareness to how my body feels sitting in my chair, and how my feet are grounded flat to the floor. Then setting my intentions for this time to be a space for me to feel and release my anger, frustrations, and sadness. Another tool I like to use to create this emotional releasing space is with the music playlist. I created a playlist of songs that reflect in some way my emotions, thoughts, a little bit of empowering energy, and then ending the playlist with a few songs that help to remind me of hope for change. When using the oil pastels, I noticed that I get to use more of my upper muscles like I wanted. I get to be rough when applying the pastels, even with how I'm gripping it in my hand. My favorite tool to scratch and dig into the oil pastels while still having control over fine detailing is the tip of this used up pen refill. Before, I used to use the end of a paintbrush, but this is so much better. This reminds me of the rainbow scratch paper. I tried to layer my cheaper Crayola pastels with these 𝘓𝘰𝘭𝘭𝘰𝘰 oil pastels. The 𝘓𝘰𝘭 go down smoother and blend well with each other, but for the rough application that I wanted, I prefer the Crayola. They're able to layer on top of each other more easily and with thicker layering. The thicker layering is important for me to be able to scratch into the top layer and create the designs I want to reveal the bottom layer of colors. I was able to release more of my emotional energy while making these images, but I still wanted more physical elements, incorporating a little more destruction. A coping tool I started to use more often is a stress ball. So the idea came to me to squeeze the paper I'm working with like a stress ball. Then I go in with this rock I collected to scrape the top layer of the paper to add even more texture. With the combination of the wrinkled paper and the rock scraping, I'm able to get more texture while also incorporating a rough visual element that represents my emotional and physical frustrations. I didn't have any planned out images for this, I just let whatever ideas came to me in the moment come. I try to remind myself that anger isn't a bad emotion, that it's a secondary emotion or reaction that I have when I'm sad, frustrated, anxious, or stressed. Anger is an energy that can be used for good. It can be a call to action. And I can use the energy of anger to be constructive. That's something I can do to both release my anger and help others is to continue doing what I've already been doing, which is making art. Expressing and releasing my emotions in a creative way and sharing how I do it so that other people can try it and see if it helps themselves. Or even seeing my art that expresses these complex emotions can help to bring comfort to other people. Creating art is something I can control when I feel strong emotions about how out of control the world is. Other things I can control as a form of action is continuing to educate myself on issues. Education and knowledge are very powerful. For a while, TikTok has been a major source for me to continue listening to people who are part of a wide range of marginalized communities. People who are more experienced, educated, and who can connect the dots and explain things in an easily digestible way. Unfortunately, as of this video, TikTok is very close to being banned. TikTok has been a great resource for information, connection, and creative inspiration for me. And of course, for getting some laughs. Moving forward, I'm going to pivot and go to a different platform and try and follow the creators I liked on TikTok on other places. Continuing with education, reading books is of course another major resource. I've been reading the book, Let This Radicalize You. I'm still reading it, but so far I've enjoyed it. I found it helpful and it's continuing to expand my knowledge on activism and community. The beginning of it helped to remind me to continue to be hopeful for change, and encouraging to imagine a better world. Activism encompasses all the ways we show up for justice. It can take a multitude of shapes, depending on a person's skills, interests, and capacity. An activist might conduct research, canvass, fundraise, or attend marches or meetings regularly, or they may simply practice a skill in their own home, such as art making, in the service of a cause or campaign they support. Activism can be done on our own, in which case we are accountable to ourselves. I hope me creating these artist vlogs and sharing my creative work can help to inspire and bring comfort to others, maybe even a place to relax from the stresses of the world. In order to invest in a new vision and a new way of living, we have to believe in each other and our capacity to create something better. Our belief in human potential must outweigh our fear of human failure. Our imaginations must be courageous. The world doesn't have to stay the way that it is. Change is always possible. And through social media, I'm glad that I've been able to see other people share similar thoughts and emotions. It makes me feel more connected to other people and hopeful when I see other people expressing themselves and taking action to help create a better world. Other ways I process and release anger and other strong emotions is by journaling, talking about issues with the people in my life that share similar frustrations, therapy, sitting with the uncomfortable physical sensations in my body, physical movement like shaking my body and exercise, listening to music, etc. After the feeling of releasing, it's important to take care of myself and comfort and ground myself. I do so by making a delicious drink like tea or hot chocolate, food or dessert, watching comforting movies and shows, playing video games, going outside to look at nature, listening to uplifting music, stretching and gentle physical movement, dancing, talking with someone, and more. I encourage you to reflect on how you process and release your own anger and even other emotions. Maybe try a new way to process, like creating rough art. It's important for us to feel and release these emotions for our own mental and physical health. It's also important that we continue to move forward with a more grounded approach towards continuing to take action to build a better world for ourselves and others.